So, what's my story? Alright. I was raised here in Florence, South Carolina. And then I went to college, went to art college in Georgia. Right? Went to art college in Georgia for about 4 years. Savannah, Georgia. And then, after I graduated, I moved up to New York City. I got this professional, prestigious footwear career in New York City. It's like every young brother's dream, every young kid's dream to be in a major city like that, right? Got this job, was able to actually work in the Empire State Building. So I was in New York for like 7 years. So every day going to the Empire State Building, designing shoes for like this major company. And from there, I ended up getting a better position and started designing kids' shoes at a different company in Long Island. So after a few years of working in the Empire State, I moved to Long Island and started working at that shoe design job out there. So that company actually was set up to a point where they eventually allowed all of their employees to work remotely. So they pretty much was like, if you want to work from home, now's the time you can. And I'm thinking, if I'm gonna work from home, I'm gonna work from a cheaper home. Because living in New York, I mean, obviously it's not cheap to live in New York. I mean, it just is what it is. And at the time, my wife and I, we was paying like $1,900, almost $2,000 a month just for rent. Just for rent. You know, so just imagine that plus utilities, you know, groceries and gas and, you know, other things like that you need every month. So, long story short, what ended up happening was I was like, all right, well, you know, because me and my wife, we was trying to buy a house in New York for a while. And that's not like, I mean, from my position, that wasn't something that was easily done, you know? Like buying a house in New York, you had to come up with a bunch of money up front. And, you know, paying $1,900, $2,000 almost a month, it's not that easy to save up that much money. It's gonna take some time. So that goal, that long-term goal, became kind of like, it became like a goal where you just kind of figure you're not gonna ever reach it. Like, that's how hopeless it gets at certain points in time. You start thinking about like, man, if I buy a house, or man, one day I want to buy a house. And then you're looking at, you know, your years are going by, you start to build a family. We have 2 children now, so it's like, all right, look. And then knowing like every month when you pay rent, right, every month you know that money is not going toward any kind of equity. So there's nothing really you can show for every time you pay rent. At the end of the day, you can't say, okay, look, this is my asset. I have ownership to this property, you know, and so on and so forth. So we already kind of was thinking in that mindset. So we're going to different seminars and we're visiting bankers and brokers and just trying to get that conversation started. Look, how can we buy a house? How can we own? And, you know, for some people, they have houses in New York, and that's what's up. But for our situation, it wasn't like, oh, we can just do that right now. You know, we had to really, really think about this and be like, you know what, it's gonna be a long time before we buy a home. And it hurt every month to see that money go out. Cause I know, I'm like, look, I know people that own houses that pay way less than what we're paying right now. So, long story short, the job ended up saying, all right, look, now the way the company is set up, how we run things, how we operate, the different systems in our computer and everything, so on and so forth, you guys are now able to design shoes from home. And I'm thinking, from home, huh? So I said, you know what, babe? Hey, let's move. Let's do that right now. Let's make, now's a window of time where we can make that move. So we go visit home here back in Florence, and we start shopping around, and then boom, our credit is great. Both of our credits together, like separate. My credit is great, her credit is great. So when we went into the search, I mean, it was like a piece of cake almost, you know. All praises for that. It was just like, and you know, when you're a first time home buyer, there's different programs and stuff that you can take advantage of. So we was able to buy a house here in South Carolina. So we relocated, boom, here we are in Florence, back home, hometown, living a dream pretty much. I'm working remotely. I'm able to be more active with my family, you know, be more involved in the things around the home, and be back in my hometown, but living from the New York paycheck. So it was like, it was great, you know. But then what's so crazy was we could have bought a home excuse me, we could have bought a home much bigger and greater than the house that we actually bought. But we were on the same mindset. We was like, you know what, nah, let's not buy what we can buy. Let's buy way below our means, right? So we can actually start saving up money that we've always wanted to save. We've always wanted to save a lot of money. We was able to save, but you know, not aggressively. So we bought a home, and we got situated to a point where, all right, now we can stack up. Let's stack up. Because they say you're supposed to save up to like 6 months worth of your living expenses, just in case something happens, right? So by the time something happens, you don't have to like rush in to get something else, rush into doing something that you shouldn't, or don't even really fully think out. You just kind of like make a decision on the spot because you have to. And that actually happened one time before. I'll go into that real quick. One time before, we were living down here, and I was working on a temporary position from New York, temporary job, and it was like a long-term project, and it was great pay. But then, obviously, a temporary job obviously means it's gonna end. So when I got that email, it was like, all right, thank you for your services, you know, great work, but the project is finished. We no longer need you at this moment. But because we were in a position where we had money stacked up, I immediately had to throw in the shirt, run out. My wife is like, yo, where you going? I'm like, I really have no idea, but I gotta get a job. Like, I gotta get a job because I know rent's coming up, and it gotta be paid. And we don't got money like that to just be, all right, look, let's take our time with it. Nah, I had to get up and go. So I got some position at a job, factory, warehouse job, pushing forklifts, and not knocking it. Like, you know, that job has its purposes, and I learned a lot of things while I was there. But for my dream, my story, my lifestyle, and the lifestyle I end up living from having that job, it was rock bottom for me, pretty much. Everybody got their different definitions of rock bottom, but for me, that was rock bottom. I was going in like 2 p.m., coming back home 5 a.m. Sometimes I would clock out at 5 a.m. So I wouldn't even be home until like almost 6. So then I had to figure out, okay, well, when am I gonna pay bills? When am I gonna get groceries? When am I gonna have time with my wife, my newborn child? When am I gonna, you know, like, it became more of a rat race than actually going to a job and coming home. So then I got stuck. I felt like I was stuck. I couldn't really do much. And then on top of that, it wasn't good enough pay. So not only could I not do much, but I couldn't really do much, you know. But the reason I brought that up was because we weren't situated in a spot where I could sit back and think on what's my next move. I just immediately had to jump up and find something quick, something that I could hire on the spot and get bills paid. So fast forward to where we are now. Fast forward, right? COVID-19, the pandemic, the plandemic. That happened, and obviously it affected many corporations, right? Including my job. So you have like department stores going bankrupt, people closing down, employees going on furlough, and well, if the stores are shutting down, if the factories are shutting down, then obviously the shoe design industry is affected. So no designs are being requested. Some shoes are still being left in the factory, so on and so forth. It affected our workflow. So the company had to immediately go on furlough, and now it was kind of like a waiting game. Like, all right, well, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? How are we gonna bounce back from this? And there really wasn't really a bounce back. You know, at some point it became, okay, well, you know, we're no longer gonna continue. We have to do a big cut in the company, and that's pretty much it. So I was like, all right, so here we go again. But the good thing about this part of the story is, because of the move we were able to make when the company first went remote, I was able to pack up all of our stuff, move out of New York, right? Come back to our hometown, buy a home well below our means, save up money, stack up money, and position ourselves to be able to now have a window of time to plan, think, and really use wisdom and consider what my next move is going to be in case of a rainy day. That was before the pandemic happened. So then it happened, lost the job, boom. Now, unlike the previous time, there is no anxiety or no rush to really go into something immediately. Now I can actually say, okay, you know what? Let me think about what I really want to do. What am I really good at? What do I enjoy doing? The things that I was doing on my free time, in my free time already, now becomes the main priority, right? And that's the birth of Creative Hussle. That was when Creative Hussle became what it is right now. And it's not even anything now, right? I'm literally just starting this whole thing out. But the direction that I'm taking now is more of a move that kind of I always wanted to do. I always wanted to go into business for myself, and I've done different little hustles every here and there on the side throughout my career and throughout my story and everything. But now, because we are situated to a point where, look, now we can make this move, not have to rush and panic, and see where it goes. I think this right here has a whole nother meaning to it. And the hustle, the origin of the name, you know, like I give credit to my rib. You know, my wife, she put in a little 2 cents in there. I was like, hey babe, like I'm trying to come up with a name, right, for what I'm really about, what I'm trying to do. How can I express my creative abilities and my hustle all at the same time? And she was like, Creative Hussle. And she was just like, she just threw it out there like it was nothing. Creative Hussle, I don't know. And I'm like, yes, what? So I immediately put the logo together that night. I'm like, all right, done. Creative Hussle, that's what it is. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me focus on a list of services that I can provide and that I know I will perform and do great at, that can bring in some kind of money to provide for everybody. So that's the story. Like that's kind of where we are now. So what I want y'all to do for watching this video is I want y'all to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't subscribe because you want to see pressure washing videos, or you want to see videos on how I replace books, or videos on how I do interior painting in different rooms, or custom painted murals, or logo design, you know, gallery walls. Don't subscribe for the services that I'm gonna provide and I'm gonna show you in future videos. Don't subscribe for that. Subscribe to the story, because to be 100% transparent, I have no idea where this is going. No idea where this is going. But you know when you do something that you really feel and you really know that it's gonna go somewhere, you feel it on the inside. You just know, like, you know what? This dream that I have is going somewhere. And without that grind, that work you gotta put in to get it to that point, you know, coupled with prayer, faith, all of that, it's not gonna be anything. But you know you're gonna bring that to the table. You already foresee it. You see the vision, you see the ideas, you see the whole thing. And that hunger that I now have to put food in my daughter's mouth, to put food in my son's table, to put food in my wife's mouth. The hunger that I have to be able to say, look, y'all wanna go down the street to the beach, or we need gas in the car, or, you know, just the things that put a smile on your face at the end of the day. Every single day there's things that people want to do. We go out, you want to grab a bite to eat, or you want to make sure that you have a home over your head, or a roof over your head to have shelter, clothes on your back. You know, children they don't stay the same size, they grow, you know. Those things, the basic necessities of life, I know I can give my all and provide for other people, just so that I can provide for my family. So subscribe to that. Subscribe to the story, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show y'all the journey. I'm gonna show y'all the journey. I know I like seeing that. I like looking at other channels, looking at other people, and whatever story, whatever dream that they have. I like seeing the grassroots. I like seeing where they start, how they accomplish their goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. I like seeing the growth in the story, and I know y'all do too. So subscribe to Creative Hustle. Watch the story. It's about to get real.